our friends from the neighboring countries decide to leave, our system will not collapse.
Awards for Best Teacher, Best Lower Basic School, Most Improved School, Head Teacher and Best Score Subject Teachers of the Year were given to deserving candidates. It was a day set aside for teachers to recognize, appreciate and boost their morale. However, students were not left out as they provided the ambience and entertained the crowd.
You followed together these semesters who have not come to love you but to demoralize and demean you.
Samuel Ba, Grts.
The youth group Voice of the Young and Partners recently marked International Day of the Child. The day is set aside to reflect on the plight of children and urge policy and decision makers to create a more protective and enabling environment for children. Mama J reports the theme for this year is the rights of children with disabilities, the duty to protect, respect, promote and fulfill.
This year's commemoration of the Day of the African Child is dedicated to children with disability. The forum is part of national commemoration spearheaded by the Department of Social Welfare. Participants at the day's synergy called on stakeholders to ensure that the rights of children with disabilities are respected, promoted and fulfilled, but also to be in solidarity with the disabled children and make them understand that disability is not inability. The president of the Voice of the Young, Ibrahim Sise, said the day is meant to not only commemorate but also to raise awareness on the rights, capabilities and potentials of these children, as well as draw public attention to the situation of the disabled children who are particularly vulnerable to marginalization of violence.
Children of the Gambia urge government to create a more conducive environment for children with disability to effectively contribute in the development process of our country through signing and ratifying the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability and its optional protocol, and thereafter enact a comprehensive disability act, which
The chairperson of the Gambia Federation for Disabled, Fatou Sanyang, reminded the gathering that everybody has an obligation to ensure that children with disabilities are protected from all abuse of exploitation. She delved into Article 21 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which specifically talked about the rights of children with disabilities. Fatou, however, harped on the stigma and discrimination that disabled continue to face in society and calls for attitudinal change. She further hailed the government for its commitment to the cause of children.
Women have shown their commitment through the special needs education policy, but we must go further. Teachers need to be trained, other people need to be sensitized, and families need to support their children with disability to access education rather than ignoring it as a possibility.
Sheikh Louis is the chairperson of the CPA Board of Directors.
The CPA and its partners are once again very delighted to be part of the 2012 commemoration. As the leading child protection agency in the Gambia, we can be confident, ask you to always rely on our support and partnership.
The Director, Department of Social Welfare, Fantabai Seka, believes the issue of disability is not only a medical condition, but also an economic and social challenge.
Persons with disabilities, especially children with disabilities, when provided with the opportunity, can contribute meaningfully to the development of society and may have demonstrated that capacity. As individuals, they wish to be treated like all other citizens and have equal opportunities accorded to them.
The WHO estimated a staggering 600 million disabled persons worldwide, out of which 80% lives in the developing world. The forum, according to officials, is set aside to further the cause of African children in their struggle to achieve their basic human rights and to eliminate all forms of discrimination against children, particularly those with disability. The day has been celebrated June 16 every year since 1991, initiated by the Organization of African Unity to honor those who participated in the Soweto riots in 1976. It could be recalled that the colored school children in Soweto, South Africa, who were brutally massacred, were protecting against the poor quality of education and demanded their rights. Mama J, GRTS.
Over 50 women armed with various life and livelihood skills during a training that spanned 3 years have been certificated at the end of the capacity building effort conducted by the Department of Community Development. The program, supported by the Social Development Fund, is among a raft of interventions seeking to create employment and improve the informal sector. Modu Jallo reports.
The 3-year training program for these 58 women was conducted by the Department of Community Development with the support of the Social Development Fund. The training sought to capacitize the women on various skills including tie and dye, batik, weaving and pottery, so that they could engage in productive ventures to improve their lives and livelihoods. The women last Friday graduated at the ceremony held at the KMC's main hall. Officials of the Department of Community Development hailed this graduation as a milestone in their efforts to build the capacity of local women and youths, most of whom are employed in the informal sector. Sergeant Kamara, the Women's Program Officer at the department, underscored the importance of soldier training in the overall attainment of the set objectives of the page and the MDGs.
It is important to note that one of the main determinants of poverty among the youths and women is inadequate employment. Thus, unemployment becomes a very key social phenomenon requiring attention if we as a nation want to reduce poverty and also achieve our domestic and international development goals.
The accelerated growth can hardly be achieved if productive sectors of the nation is not developed, and if unemployment is also not addressed. One of the key issues which our department realized to be very effective in addressing these key issues is skills acquisition.
Marietta Costa, a project manager of the Community Skills Improvement Project, said focus is now shifting to the development of the informal sector, which until now had been neglected, regarded by many as a domain for school dropouts.
Graduates today have the key to make a significant positive difference in their lives and that of their families, and say no and never to poverty again. Inasmuch as we celebrate the day, the acquisition of the certificates is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. You are therefore urged to go by the principles of what you were taught and deliver the services with the highest quality and not quantity, and compete effectively with others in the market.
Mr. Costa therefore tasked the women to set the examples by teaming up into viable cooperatives to develop the sector and train others. Mr. Costa also called on Gambians to patronize the women by buying their products, saying they have better quality and would empower our local industries.
What we do in this country and what we produce as far as skills is concerned is second to none. The Malians come with their products. I have been notorious for saying this, and I keep saying it. The Malians will come with their products. It is shiny and brilliant. But what is the end result? You want to wash them, you take them to the tie and dye specialist to do it for you, because you dare not do it yourself, because that would be the end of the product. But the ones produced here, you wash several times until it turns into pieces.
The graduation of these women is the first of its kind under the partnership between the Department of Community Development and the Social Development Fund. The SDF had procured the services of 2 Nigerian technical assistants who spearheaded the training of the women. This partnership, it is hoped, will lay the foundation for a more sustainable and rewarding program that will eventually transform the socio-economic status of Gambian women and promote national development. Amadou Diallo, GRTS.
The first batch of students of Sibek International High School on Saturday graduated from the Nasan School at a colorful ceremony. Fatu Jase picks up the rest of that story.
After successfully completing their term of studies at the Sibek International Senior Secondary School, this batch is the first graduates from the school. Fully clad in bright gowns, the 28 walked out of the school and entered the next stage of their lives as the first product of the bilingual school.
We are proud of you, and we have every conviction that you will excel in the wider